89.7 KLES-FM. My name is Richard Harris. Let's see you on the phone lines. Nope. Call back. All right, folks. And so, we have last weekend the National Football League was absolutely crazy. I guarantee you, I would say 95% of you did not foresee what happened. And so let's talk about the games from last week before we preview the championship game, which we'll do in our final segment. First, the San Francisco 49ers taking on the New Orleans Saints. What can you say about that game other than it was just absolute bedlam and shock? Now, I missed the first half of the game before I was out with my daughter having a great Saturday afternoon with her. We went to see Beauty and the Beast, which was awesome in 3D. Only to come back to find and see this game going back and forth in the fourth quarter. Thinking to myself, boy, the Saints were supposed to be the Niners were supposed to be this defensive juggernaut, and they're letting the Saints go up and down the field on them with poor tackling, and the Saints can't get off the field or can't get the Niners off the field. Now, when the score was 32-29, I'm sure just like the rest of you around this country, you thought the game was over. But Alex Smith, you know, like I said, it's been a year of redemption for a lot of people in the National Football League, had his redemptive moment as he essentially led the unthinkable. I think most people thought that maybe they'd get a drive and maybe they would kick a field goal and force overtime and lose gallantly or valiantly. But what they did was they took the ball right down the field, 7 plays, 85 yards in a minute 36 seconds, and absolutely stunned and gutted the Saints. Vernon Davis is a star. I'm sure most people remember Vernon Davis from the Mike Singletary rant and kicking him off the field for his immature behavior. But he, over the last few years, has shown that he is a super player, and he clearly is the best tight end in the NFC. I know Jimmy Graham has all the stats and stuff, and can't really take that away from Jimmy Graham. But Vernon Davis made the plays, and so did Alex Smith. And so Alex Smith moves on. Congratulations to the 49ers. And of course, we'll talk about their game against the Giants as we progress through the show. The second playoff game was the Broncos and the Patriots. And, sometimes just matchups, supersede talent. I say a lot of times on this show that teams that win in the National Football League don't necessarily win because they have the best talent. They win because they call the best plays. And I feel the 49ers game, as I feel the same thing with this Patriots-Broncos game. Play calling does so much to win games, more so than players. And the Broncos had no match for the tight ends in the Patriots game. And basically, the Patriots made them pay, and basically, the Patriots routed them. Tim Tebow deserves, some credit for getting his team that far, but the reality is, no running game, they're not that good. And in the third game, the Texans and the Ravens, this game is a prototype of what I'm trying to describe. Here you have Arian Foster running all over the Ravens. He had 127 yards rushing and 20-plus carries. And the Texans have an opportunity to possibly win this game, driving down the field, 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line with 2 minutes to go. And he throws a deep pass that gets picked off. Foster, after the play, walks down to the other end of the sideline, didn't want to be associated with his teammates, because he's saying to himself, what in the world is this guy doing? What in the world is Kubiak calling? Here I am, gutting this team. You don't want to throw a screen pass to me? You don't want to hand me the football? And he walked away. And though I know that sounds like a selfish thing to do, and it is a selfish thing to do, but the fact of the matter remains, he was clearly the best player on the field. Give him the ball. You guys have heard me during the season talk about in crucial moments this season about how play calling. The first Giant-Niner game, which I'll talk about in a minute, the Giants had the ball 2nd and 2 at the 11-yard line. The Giants threw a pass, incomplete. Then they tried to run the ball on 3rd down, and then the 4th time they threw a pass. I'm screaming, run the football on 2nd down. to give yourself a better option. And then why isn't Brandon Jacobs on the field? It's play calling. And the Houston Texans are saying to themselves, the Ravens weren't that impressive. The Ravens barely deserved to win. The Texans sacked Flacco 5 times. I mean, it didn't make sense to me why they stopped running the football. And therefore, they lost. And so now the Ravens get ready to take on the Patriots, who we'll preview in a moment. Well, at the end of the show, we'll do our football previews. But, to me, the reality of the situation is, the Texans could still be playing had they run the right plays. Which leads to the final game of the weekend. The New York Football Giants, folks, showed me so much this past Sunday. Yes, last week on my show, I did say I'm picking the Giants to win this game. And I know I said it's a homer pick. It's a hopeful pick. Obviously, I'm going to root for my team no matter what. But to me, there was a method to my madness. I felt the Giants, if given an opportunity in the fourth quarter, could win this game. Now, did I think the Giants were going to blow the Packers out? No. Did I think the Giants were going to dominate the Packers anyway? No. But to physically beat the Packers up in the manner in which they did, I got to give you credit. Got to give you credit. And so, like I said, much respect, to the Giants for doing what they did. And, hopefully it can carry over for the rest of the way. And so, there you have my last weekend's games. I give a big shout out and congratulations to the Texans, to the Broncos, to the Saints and the Packers for having the seasons that they did. They just ran into better teams on that particular day. And so, in our final 20 minutes of the show, we will preview the championship games, tell you who I think is going to be in the Super Bowl, and take it from there. But after this commercial break, we're going to talk about some more NFL stuff, some things that happened this week that I'm very upset about. And we will do that on 89.7 KLES FM. I want to thank you for listening on my show. Like I said, you can call in by dialing 323-962-1937. I am on Twitter as well as Facebook during the show. So if you want to send me a tweet or a message, I'm more than willing to respond. And I look forward to your commentary. But until then, we'll take a commercial break, and we'll be back after this.
My friend John and I think the road rules. We've got lots of ideas on where to go. Unfortunately, we're a little low on bucks. I'm thinking we're going nowhere fast. Then John found out about this Greyhound 2-for-1 companion fare. We can go just about any place.